see. Oh, what's this? I'm live again. Well, it's been a long time since I've been on here, so let me do the usual before I start the live stream is to make sure my sound levels are okay. So let me do a test on this. That looks good there. Out of that. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Uh, let's see. All right. Let's see. All right. Seems like everything seems good to me. All right. Well, it's been a long time since I've been on here, so maybe or maybe not that I will get some people to come into the chat. So we'll see. Seems like everything seems good to me. All right. Well, it's been a long time since I've been on here, so maybe or maybe not that I will get some people to come into the chat. So we'll see. All right. So where do I start? Okay, let's start off by saying it's good to be back. It's been a while. Those who are listening out there, if you notice, my avatar is different from my original avatar, which is still up, by the way, on my main channel page here. This avatar represents the fact that I'm a avid video game fan, and me being an old school guy that I am, this avatar pretty much represents one of my favorite fighting games of all time, which probably the favorite fighting game of all time of mine, which is Street Fighter Alpha 2. So, uh, as some of my friends and family know, that I am a huge Street Fighter fan, particularly the Alpha series. Alpha 2 was probably the most, my favorite, probably the best out of the game out of the fighting genre of the mid '90s, particularly in the Alpha series, whereas what you call it, where there was a balance of a lot, and not only they had to introduce a lot of characters, particularly from the old Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 1 days, and then a mixture of new characters that include, I think it was 5 new characters, I believe, or actually one actual new character, which was what's her name, Sakura, with and then you had a balance as well of multiple, with characters with multiplicity of moves, combination, chain combos, like I said, etc. But obviously, the game had some tweaks given from the old from his predecessor, the Street Fighter Alpha game, where they allowed chain combos opposed to the fact that Alpha 2 that got rid of the chain combo system, with the exception of a couple of characters who still had them, like Guy from the Final Fight days. He has the chain combos, and I think Gin from those Street Fighter 1 days back in '87, he has a chain combo. But anyways, I don't want to make this damn live stream of this live hangout about Street Fighter Alpha 2, but I just wanted to let you guys know about my new avatar that I posted here. So. Um, Anyhow, a lot of catching up to do. Got some thoughts about the current state of boxing and the whole COVID thing. I know it's a sensitive topic. No one wants to talk about it, given the fact that it's been heavily politicized. Number one, and number two, a lot of people out there would like to be oblivious or ignorant about the whole situation, given the fact that they refuse, or they're trying so hard to not believe that COVID is a reality. And I kind of get where they're coming from, because it's a scary thought to say this and believe in the realms of possibility that we're living in the middle of a pandemic. And the last time this world's ever faced a pandemic was back in 1919, which was more than 100 years ago. If anyone done any fact checking the history about this, we had the Spanish flu way before all of us were born, or even before our grandparents were even born. So, majority of us, I should say. Um, all I could tell you is that during that time, I believe there was 65 million people that were affected with the Spanish flu, and over 1 million deaths in the entire world that long ago. And at that time, there were people who didn't do the social distancing thing, and there was a situation where the cases of the pandemic were going down to the point that all the country governments were starting to reopen their reopen their businesses, going back to the way of life, and they did it way too soon to the point that the case has gone up. What do you know? Deja vu. United States repeated the same steps, and you think, if you understand and go back and look into history, that many people would understand the uh, the reality of the fact that you do not want to open up things, given the fact that you haven't quite gotten out of the quote unquote first wave of the virus of the pandemic. And apparently, you have, like I said, don't want to this became too politicized, but I have to say this. It just got to the fact that many of the state and local, and I would also say the federal government want to open up the economy quickly. Why? Because they were losing revenue. And two, obviously, consumer confidence is going way down. And three, people need jobs. And we're in the middle of an election year, and Trump and his administration are very, very terrified of that because they need something to run on to get reelected, and they need jobs. They need people to get back to work. But the problem is that do you value revenue and people going back to work, or the safety of the American citizens? And obviously, yeah, there are some essential jobs that need to be taking place because people have to eat, people have to clothe, and people have to, bathe as well. So I understand all that, but the fact is that you have to do it a safe way and a responsible way, as many medical experts have suggested. But now all of a sudden they became the quote unquote deep state, or the enemy of the of the liberation, as you want to call it. But hey, if you want to go out there and risk your lives and not be responsible of not wearing a mask and practicing social distancing and not washing your hands, this, that, and the third, then by all means, that's on you. But don't bring it around me and my family. That's all I gotta say. But anyhow, it just got to the point that this thing has become politicized to the point COVID-19 has really, really devastated the our economic activities, our way of life is devastated to the point that many people, particularly in boxing, we got fighters out there who don't want to, risk their health to go into the ring. I get all that, but if they were to get into the ring, they want to be honored the money they were honored, and they want to be honored the money that they were guaranteed in their contracts. But many of them are fighting to the point that they do not fighting. I should say not literally, but they are really against the fact that they don't want to risk taking a pay cut during the middle of a pandemic. And I want to touch upon that a little bit too. And I know fighters like Terrence Crawford is very adamant about not taking a pay cut, and neither is Amanda Serrano, which D Style covered this earlier in his live stream. Shout out to D Style, by the way. And I will say is that what you call it is that I understand where the fighters coming from. They want to be honored what they were promised before COVID had hit. And obviously, they're going to say, well, it's not my fault that the pandemic came about. I couldn't foresee it. So you owe me the money that you promised me before I step into that ring. I get all that. But me, I know this is probably the only time I'm going to defend the promoters and the advertisers who, or the producers who are putting up funds to SEP events. You have to understand, given the fact that there are no live gates right now, to the point that they can't afford to pay these extra amount of dollars that you were promised. Now, if you want to be honored the money that you were promised to be paid for a certain fight, then you can sit it out. But how long are you going to sit out as a fighter? Because you definitely the bills are not going to pay by themselves. The mortgage is not going to pay by itself. The property taxes on your house is not going to pay by itself, or neither is the utilities. You definitely have to pay for food. You have to pay for clothing, the whole nine yards, all the essential things. And the fact is that how long are you going to hold out? Now, fighters like Wilder and Joshua and Fury, those guys could hold out as long as maybe 2 or 3 years, but most of these fighters can't do that. I mean, Pacquiao can hold out as long as he wants to because we know he's made us so much money is ridiculous. So is Canelo, but most of these fighters are not on that caliber. So you do have to feed your family. So what are you going to do? You're going to have to take what you can now. As I recall, Shakur Stevenson, his last fight is one of his title defenses. He had to take a pay cut because there was no live gate, and he fought anyway. I don't think he was. I think he was supposed to get $1 million purse for that fight, but they had to reduce it due to the fact that they didn't have a live gate. So that's just the reality of it. I mean, if you refuse to sit out and because of the fact that you don't want to be undercompensated, I get that. You're You're within your right to do so, but the problem is that how long are you going to sit out because COVID can stretch as long as 2 years, maybe 3 years. I hate to say that, but that is the harsh reality of it. It can, unless all of us could get our act together, or meaning the our state governments or nation governments, I should say, they need to get their act together and get this thing under control. So that's all I got to say about that, man. But anyways, let's talk about some of the things I have on my agenda. We have Pacquiao versus Golovkin. Now, this thing has come about a couple weeks ago. I think an interview Freddie Roach had with Chris Mannix over at the Zone, which I will be covering too because of the fact that the Zone is in a lot of financial trouble right now. Uh, so Pacquiao versus Golovkin. My thoughts about that fight. Now, it doesn't surprise me that this fight is coming about because, as I said several years ago, or not several, but maybe about 4 years ago, I've said that Pat Golovkin was pursuing a Pacquiao fight. He wanted that fight for 5 years. He wanted that fight, but many people laughed it off. They didn't want to believe it, particularly those diehard Golovkin fanboys. They all didn't want to believe that because they wanted to put Gennady Golovkin on a pedestal as if he was the better middleweight than the Hagler, than the Hopkins, whatnot. Because they ridicule those guys for fighting legendary small men, like Hagler fighting Duran, fighting Leonard and Hearns, and Hopkins fighting Simon Brown and Oscar De La Hoya's of the Felix Trinidad's. Yeah, they ridicule them, even though obviously those were Hall of Fame wins that they got on their resume because they were great legendary little guys. But as I've argued, and obviously always have my points are proven right for the most part. I've argued that, well, what's the fuss about it? Why ridicule those guys for fighting those small men? They were great small men. In fact, those small men were greater fighters than any of the fighters that Golovkin has beaten as far as middleweights. That is a fact. I mean, David Lemieux, you tell me David Lemieux is better than Oscar De La Hoya? Is David Lemieux better than Simon Brown? No, of course he's not. No, is David Lemieux better than Tommy Hearns or Roberto Duran? All right, no comment. No comment. So, yo, what's up, Intangible? Long time no hear. Intangible boxing news. So I'm starting to get some viewers here. I know it's been a long time, so I don't expect a large viewership here. But it's gonna funnel in. So, but the thing is that look, I'm not chastising Golovkin for pursuing a Pacquiao fight because yes, great middleweights throughout time have all had their Hall of Fame resumes built because they fought legendary small guys. I could go back to Monzon fighting Nopulis. I can go all the way back to Mickey Walker fighting, Harry Grant fighting Mickey Walker, or way after that, I could go into the fact that Zell, his career is pretty much built on the fact that he had a trilogy fight with Rocky Graziano, The Rock. So what does that tell you? And you have LaMotta fighting guys like Ray Robinson. So yeah, I'm not going to chastise Golovkin for pursuing the Pacquiao fight because Golovkin is at the end of his career. He's banged up. He's taking a lot of damage, and obviously in that Derevchenko fight, that was telling point to the fact that he's at the end of his career. He's looking for one huge payday. Yes, the Canelo fight was agreed upon principle for which other words they had a verbal agreement, and they were going to draft all of the provisions to get the third fight done. But needless to say, given the pandemic situation that came about, it seems like Canelo is going to look elsewhere, and Golovkin is not going to wait on that. Yo, what's up, Agari? Salute, brother. Yeah, it's been a long time, man. So I'm trying to get back into the thick of things. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, difference is the Graf fought a prime Walker, Hagler fought a prime Hearns, and Golovkin will have fought a flyweight at 41 years old. Yeah, you know what? That is a huge difference, intangible. That is a good point. Very good point. Now, I know some people are going to ridicule Golovkin if he did beat Pacquiao, given the fact he is 41 years old and he's going up in weight. Um, that is a very, very fair comparison. Now, that's not to degrade Golovkin if he were to beat Pacquiao, but I know if he does beat him, if he does beat him, I know a lot of Golovkin fans are going to come out and say, "You see, Gennady Golovkin is a great middleweight of all time because he beat a legendary fighter." Yeah, but he fought him at 41 years old. I mean, you got Hagler who fought a prime Hearns and top of the game, Roberto Duran. All right, so and you got Hopkins who fought a Pride Phoenix Trinidad. So, I mean, look, they're all legendary fights and they're all legendary fighters. They're all great wins. And I'm not going to degrade Golovkin if he does beat Pacquiao. I'm not going to degrade him for that. But needless to say, though, the comparisons are going to come up once the fight gets made. And then when it happens, we'll see. But if I were to pick a winner, I'm definitely going with Pacquiao. Now, the question is, where will the weight be? To me, in my then Pacquiao is going to demand a rehydration clause whereas Golovkin cannot weigh no more than a certain amount going into fight night. I think that's what's going to happen. Or Golovkin is going to be at the full 160, but there'll be a rehydration clause where Golovkin cannot rehydrate no more than 5 pounds after the weigh-in. So I see that realm of possibility in my view. So what's up, Mala? Not time no here, man. So I'm back, and I promise you guys that I will be that I'll be doing this more often. I'll be tackling this more often. So Golovkin has an average resume. I mean, you know what? He does. He does. I mean, is it the greatest resume? No, but it's pretty average at best. It is, and all of it is due to the fact that yes, he fought a lot. He has a lot of top good, a lot of top 10 wins, decent top 10 wins. But at the time when the middleweight division was not really up to par, not his fault. But it is what it is. Yeah, let's see. Even if it's a 160, Triple G destroys him, but catchweight, Pacquiao wins. Yeah, I mean, Pacquiao's greater chances of winning is definitely a bit of a catchweight. And I know a lot of people there's a lot of thought, people have their thoughts and opinion about this, and people were saying that Pacquiao's crazy for doing this. If he does this, then what in the hell, man? He's going to get murdered. But you know what? I recall many years ago that when Pacquiao moved up from 135 to take on De La Hoya at welterweight, a lot of people thought he was crazy. They thought that weight was too much for him. I remember the time when De La Hoya was a significant favorite going into that fight. They thought that De La Hoya was going to kill the man because look, De La Hoya was bigger, he was stronger, he had longer reach. I mean, they thought he was going to maul a Floyd. Oh, this nigga Ben Umar in the chat. Nigga, we ain't gonna see you again for another 6 months. Your old lady got you a lock. Nah, nigga, they ain't like that, bro. But hey, what's up, dog? It's been a long time. Yo, IBT, what's happening, bro? So, yeah, man, Ben Umar. Yeah, that's my boy, man. Ben Umar, man. I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. But intangible, back to the Golovkin and the Pacquiao thing. I mean, look, I think that if it is a catchweight, I agree. Pacquiao wins. But if it's a 160 without any rehydration clause or no weight stipulations, um, I don't know. I still think it's a 50-50 fight. And let me explain why. Because Golovkin style is tailor made for Manny Pacquiao. And yeah, good to hear. Thanks, man. It's good to be back, bro, Ben. But here's why I think Pacquiao still favors Pacquiao to an extent. And let me tell you why. Because Pacquiao throughout his greatest wins is against guys who pretty much stand in front of him. Guys who stand there, who's come forward, who willing to trade, who's trying to pressure him. But that suits Pacquiao's style because he knows he can outpunch guys who try to come forward who don't have fast hands or fast feet quicker than him. Margarito, we all know he was never a fast fighter. We knew he was slow as molasses, and Pacquiao destroyed him. Essentially ended his career. I know Miguel Cotto finished him off, but we all know that Pacquiao was the reason why Antonio Margarito didn't never have his career was never the same after that. But the fact is that he's made a living of fighting guys who was willing to stand in front of him and trade with him. Golovkin is that type of fighter. Golovkin, yes, better fighter than Antonio Margarito. I'm not comparing the two, but Golovkin is slow on his feet. His hand speed is incredibly slow, and he gets punched a lot. He doesn't have reflexes whatsoever. Pacquiao will eat that up. I'm just being honest. I'm not saying he's going to knock him out, but Pacquiao would make target practice of the guy. I'm just keeping it real. Let's be honest. In fact, Golovkin's chin, I don't think it's the same after that Derevchenko fight. His punch resistance is pretty much depleted. It's not the same as it was back in 2014, 2013, 2015 when Golovkin was eating bombs. But it gets to a point at some time that if you fight guys who punches harder, it hits just as hard. Your chin's not going to be the same. I mean, Canelo hit this guy with everything he's got, and yes, it seemed like Triple G wasn't really hurt, but those were monster shots he took from Canelo. Jacobs hit this guy with some bombs. So I mean, Kell Brook, yes, a welterweight, but he even hurt Stone Golovkin a little bit. So, yeah, it's to a point that I think that I'm gonna favor Pacquiao, whether it's a catchweight or not. I'm being honest. Yes, if it was at a full 160, it's a 50-50 fight, but I still favor Pacquiao because the style's just it's just Golovkin's style. It just it's tailor made for Pacquiao. I'm just keeping it real. Yeah, good to hear for you though, bro. Yeah, yeah, man. Only issue for Pac-Man versus Triple G is that Triple G's chin is great, better than Margarito, bigger than Margarito, better jab than Margarito. Pacquiao would have to be perfect, you know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and as I pointed out, Pacquiao is still. I mean, Golovkin is the better fighter than Margarito. I get that, but I would say though, his foot speed and his hand speed. I think. I mean, maybe Margarito's hand speed is just slightly faster than Golovkin. You know, he never had quick hands either, but it was slightly faster. And I think moved a little bit better on his feet than Golovkin did. I mean, the only thing I would say though is Golovkin knew how to pressure you better than Margarito. He knew how to trap you better. He knew how to cut off the ring better than Margarito. I will give him that. So, I mean, Golovkin's still the better fighter overall, but if you look at it from the eye test, I just don't think his punch resistance is the same. Not after that Derevchenko fight where he nearly got knocked out, and that's pretty much the first time or the second time in his career that Golovkin nearly was really hurt that bad that he could have gotten knocked out. So, and you know, I mean, I just don't know Golovkin at this point. You know, I mean, if he can take any more of this, I just don't think he can. And that's why he's looking for one last fight before he hangs it up. Yeah, Pacquiao doesn't have great stamina anymore. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He doesn't. So, but you know, we'll see though. I mean, he doesn't have it either, but you know, who knows, man? I still favor him either way to beat Golovkin. Whether it's a catchweight or at the full 160 is more of an even fight, but I'll slightly favor him in the fight once it gets made, which I believe it will get made. I think it will. Um, Bakari says, I remember a time when Triple G actually had a good head movement. I mean, he had decent head movement early in his career. You know, when he fought a lot of guys coming up in the ranks, but needless to say, though, um, Golovkin really just didn't have the, you know, he just relied too much on his chin and power. I mean, it just gets to, that's what he did. It's kind of like the Rocky Marciano type of mentality. It's not about, you know, how hard you can punch. It's all about how hard you can take a shot. If you could take shots, then you can keep coming forward, then your opponent gets psyched out mentally. You know what I mean? So, it just gets to a point that when you start fighting bigger and big badder punchers, it just like your chin just really can't hold up that longer. It just can't. Look at Ricardo Mayorga, for example. Strong as hell at welterweight, unbelievable iron chin at welterweight. It just got to the point when he started fighting bigger punchers, his punch resistance was gone. The Felix Trinidad fight, remember that? When he was an idiot and took Felix Trinidad's best hooks, and then after that he started to decline after that. So yeah, so I mean, it is what it is, man. I just think that you know Golovkin, you know, he knows that. So I think he just you know wants to call it a career. And mind you, he wanted that Pacquiao fight for years. He wanted it back in 2015. So let's keep that in mind. IBT says, I'll take that bet. Every shot that Golovkin lands will be like thunder cracking his face and body. Oh, yeah. I'm not saying Golovkin cannot hurt Manny Pacquiao. He definitely can. He definitely can. And let's not forget, Margarito hurt Pacquiao to the body into that fight. That was like the only biggest blow that Margarito could land on Pacquiao. So yeah, uh, knockout. I could see down, but out. Disagree slightly. No, Golovkin was definitely out on his feet until the referee saved him. He was out on his feet. He was out when he took that body shot and the hook to the head by Derevchenko. I think it was in the fifth round, and he fell back, and he was nearly gone until he got saved. So yeah, the referee honestly saved Golovkin versus Derevchenko. Yeah, he did. The referee, yeah, Harvey, I think it was Harvey Wilson who was in that who officiated that fight. I could be wrong, but yeah, he saved Golovkin for that. He saved Golovkin for that knockout. He did. But it is what it is. Pacquiao versus Triple G will never happens. Well, never say never, bro. Because I remember a time when people thought when the whole Oscar De La Hoya fight was coming about, people didn't believe it either. They thought that Pacquiao was crazy. He was talking nonsense. The next, you know, he made the fight. He destroyed De La Hoya, ended his career. Man, Derevchenko was entirely job versus Golovkin. You know what? Intangible. I will say this: we knew that Golovkin was the marquee guy going into that fight because we all know many people want to see the trilogy fight with Canelo Alvarez. So Derevchenko knew what he was up against. He knew, yes, he was getting a very big payday, but he knew he was up against. He knew he had to knock the guy out. If he wasn't going to knock him out, if he couldn't knock him out, he was going to lose on the guards. We all knew that. And was it a close fight? Looking at it, the second and third time around, it was close, but I still thought Derevchenko had the upper hand on Golovkin. I really thought he did. I really thought he did. Other than the knockdown that Golovkin got on Derevchenko, yes, Golovkin had some rounds in after that, but to me, I thought Derevchenko had the better of him in that fight. He was faster, he was stronger, and he visibly hurt the guy, nearly knocked him out. Of course, our referee saved him from the knockout, in my view. So it is what it is. Bakari says that if this was Pac-Man from '09, then I would favor him, but I'm not sure now. Uh, let's put it this way: if we fought if Batman from '09 fighting a prime Gennady Golovkin, would you still be confident to say that? I mean, we all know Golovkin in his prime was literally a fresher guy because of the fact that he was younger, he was hungrier. But now they're both. I mean, they're both old. Let's be real. Pacquiao is older, but Golovkin has took it, in my view. I mean, it's debatable whether who's taking more damage in their career or not. But to me, in my view, I think Golovkin is taking more damage than Pacquiao. In my view, that's just my opinion. But yeah, they paid a lot of money for Golovkin to join the zone. They have to give him cash out to cash out fight against Alvarez. I mean, yeah, that's what he was promised. So that could come about, but it again is up to Canelo Alvarez to decide whether he wants to take the fight or not. But as I recall, when after COVID hit, I may have seen somewhere some publication. I could be wrong. I have to go back and check that maybe, just maybe, Canelo Alvarez decided to rescind his decision to fight Golovkin in that third fight, and he decided to move on elsewhere. So I'm not sure anybody can help me understand that, but I think Canelo Alvarez is starting to move on. So now Golovkin is trying to look for other options at this point, and he's coming off an injury. So and Manny Pacquiao is no longer under he's fulfilled his fight obligation with the PBC, I believe. So he pretty much could do whatever he wanted at this point. And I mean, he could still be on the PBC banner, but I think he's going to take a one-off fight and fight Golovkin on the zone. And speaking of the zone, I will say this though: the zone is under a lot of financial trouble because of the COVID situation. It's all due to the fact they only have one stream revenue, which is on demand. They don't have any other streaming. I mean, not other streaming, any source of revenue stream. They don't. So to me, in my view, they need this Golovkin and Pacquiao fight. If they were to sponsor it, they were to fund it and produce it, they have to do a pay per view platform. I'm not saying they have to charge $50 for the fight or anything like that. I think they need to do this as follows. Just my suggestion: if you're a non-subscriber, you pay $20 or $30 for the fight. If you are a subscriber, you only pay $5 for the fight. That's just in my view the only way they can recoup with the purses they're going to really pay out to make this fight happen. In my view, if the zone don't pick it up, then definitely HBO. And the reason why I say that because HBO did say even though they're going to exit out of sports, including boxing genre, they would look into paying and featuring uh, fight safe if it makes financial sense. Now, Golovkin was the last HBO fighter, and Pacquiao was an HBO fighter. So if they could get that fight, if they could go ahead and win rights to it, then maybe they will host it. Well, now it's called HBO Max because they merged with Cinemax. They own rights to the Cinemax, so it is what it is. So that's just the way I see it. That could take place. So again, guys, I think Golovkin is at the last leg of his career. I thought Pacquiao was the last leg of his career, and he looks just as good as he was almost a few years ago. So I favor Pacquiao to win this fight once they get it made, in my view. I'm not saying he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna knock him out, but I think he's gonna. I mean, he's gonna toy with Golovkin. I think that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, and let's go. I know Bakari, you asked about the Floyd situation, his gripe about being ranked below Sugar Ray Leonard. Let me say something about that. Let me say something about that. Now, I'm not going to trash Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was a great fighter, no question about it. The man has a great career. He has great Hall of Fame wins. Cannot take that away from him. Yes, he's beaten more world champions. Excuse me. He's beaten more world champions than any fighter in history. I give him credit for that. But you have to take into account that Ray Leonard had far better quality opposition in their prime than Floyd Mayweather has. That is fact. That's not opinion. That is fact. Okay. Now, at welterweight, what wins that Floyd Mayweather have that were greater than a prime wins? I'm talking about prime, not past prime. I'm talking about prime wins at welterweight. What wins were greater than Tommy Hearns and Roberto Duran that Floyd has? I mean, yeah, I debated this with Charlie Brown a while back, but I'm just saying, no, he doesn't have it. I mean, anybody could dispute that, but the fact is that Ray Leonard fought a prime Tommy Hearns, a fight that many people thought he wasn't going to win. In fact, he went to that fight with a retina injury. Let's be let's be real, okay? Roberto Duran, universally recognized as greatest lightweight of all time, fought him at his best at his prime and beat him. Okay, so and plus, Wilfred Benitez, another great quality win that Ray Leonard took his undefeated record away. The same Wilfred Benitez who beat Antonio Cervantes. So it beat him at his best. So I'm just saying, though, man, I mean, you cannot, I mean, those wins right there are much better quality than any of the wins that Floyd had at welterweight. Yes, we could talk about Manny Pacquiao. Um, but the fact is that, I mean, look, to me, in my view, Manny Pacquiao, I know some people can argue that maybe Manny Pacquiao is greater than Roberto Duran or whatnot. But or even Tommy Hearns. But the fact is that to me, prime for prime, Floyd doesn't have those wins at welterweight. He doesn't. That's just a fact. And the fact that Floyd has carefully chose his opponent more so than Leonard did. Yes, you can see why Leonard did it because Leonard fought off his career was kind of cut short a bit, and he was fighting sporadically because of a detached retina. That's what he was doing. So Floyd didn't have, I mean, yes, you could say he had the brittle hands. He could, he had this and that and the third, but was that more serious than the retina? Because Ray Leonard could have gone blind if he kept fighting, if he fought a longer lifespan than Floyd Mayweather did. Let's be real. I'm just being honest. So, look, Floyd could gripe all about that all he wants to, but that's just someone's opinion. And as I recall, he's been a hypocrite about it because as I Floyd, and when I recall after the Berto fight, when Jim Gray asked him at the post fight interview, "Do you still think you're the greatest fighter of all time?" He said, "You know what? I'm gonna let the fans and I'll let the critics decide that." Cool, fair enough. I was very happy when Floyd said that. That was the right answer to give. Then all of a sudden now he's pissed off that someone's ranked Leonard above him. I guess because it's the fact that he doesn't like Sugar Ray Leonard. Maybe because of sour grapes that Sugar Ray Leonard beat his dad many years ago. I don't know. I don't know, but it is what it is, Floyd. You got to deal with it. You got to deal with the fact that people are not going to always rank you the greatest of all time. That's just the way it is. It's people's opinion. If you don't like it, then fuck off. I'm just, I hate to be cruel, but people, you can't stop anyone. You cannot get upset over someone's opinion. No one said you weren't a great fighter at welterweight, but the fact is that you have to look at these variables here. Leonard fought better quality opposition in his prime at welterweight than you did, and he beat them. That's a fact. So let me go here. Mala says that, or Intangible said, that's why I think the Alvarez fight happens in the next year or so. I mean, it's possible, Tangible. It's possible. Mala says the last fight I saw Golovkin have, he looked very old, man, and he's ready to be taken out. Yeah, you know what? I agree with that. I think that's the reason why Pacquiao is taking this fight because he knows Golovkin is at the end of his leg, and Golovkin knows it too. That's why he's not risking his health to fight these prime guys. That's why he's turned down a lot of prime, fights against prime fighters, So, and I can understand why he where he's coming from, but but it is what it is. That's just that's the reality of it. Bakari says a prime Duran and prime Hearns would kill some of these fighters today. Oh yeah, yeah, I agree. No question about that because those guys actually could fight 15 rounds. 12 rounds is nothing to them. Let's be real. They have it. They had gas in their tank. They could go 16 rounds if they did back in the day. But it is what it is. What's up, Terrence? I'm good, bro. Let me see. IBT says Marquez moving up 2 weight classes. Amazing prime win. Oh wait. Who did? You're talking about you talking about Floyd fight Marquez. I mean, well, it was a great win, yes, but I mean, Juan Mario Marquez is a great fighter, no question about it. But he's no Roberto Duran. We can all agree on that. He's no Roberto Duran. he let's keep it real, okay? So the Texas is the ATG is all subjective, but at the end of the day, fans and fighters get riled up for the sake of it. Yeah, that's true. Intangible says that Floyd is not the greatest. I respect that he was the most successful fighter athlete probably ever, but his career was risk and based on reward. Yeah, yeah, that's a fact. And then some of these Floyd diehards get pissed off when we bring that up, which is I don't know why, because Floyd himself admitted that. He admitted that this is more of a reward risk situation more so than legacy. That's what he said. That's just not me making it up. That's what he said. He said this multiple times. So that's a fact. Both Mayweather and Pacquiao dragged Juan Manuel Marquez up two weight classes. Well, they both did, yes. But to be fair, though, Pacquiao had fought Marquez in his lower weight classes in his best, in his prime. So I mean, that's just the only differences there. So I mean, yeah, and Pacquiao was already, or yeah, he came up in weight. Pacquiao and Mayweather fought at a higher weight than more so than Marquez did. But again, to my point, Pacquiao had already fought Marquez at super, I think at featherweight and super featherweight, not super featherweight. I'm sorry, at featherweight and super featherweight, I believe. Yeah, so I have to go back and check. But I know they fought at featherweight, but a couple times. It is what it is. So Marquez is a fantastic fighter, but moving up two weight classes to a catchweight, then Floyd misses the weight. Floyd gets so much credit for that fight, but when I don't think over fighters would, other fighters would. I mean, you know what? That is true. Floyd, some part of me probably believe that Floyd purposely wanted to come overweight in that fight because he felt that if he had drained himself to 144, that would give Marquez some bit of advantage, but he didn't want to give him any advantages and tricked him into a catchweight. So if Floyd was willing to risk to pay him $250,000 for missing the weight. I mean, I think he could have made the weight if he wanted to, but I think he purposely wanted to miss that weight, in my view. So yeah, I that's what I believe. I respect Floyd. Floyd Mayweather. Tangible says I respect Floyd Mayweather a lot as an athlete, but I'm not a diehard fan. I'm neutral. Yeah, I'm neutral to it. And look, I've criticized Floyd, and many of you guys who've been on my channel for a long time, I've ridiculed Floyd Mayweather. I mean, to the core. But I do give credit what credit is due. I've been more neutral after he retired. I do give him credit for all the wins, most of the wins that he's had. But we cannot dismiss the fact that he did build his entire, majority of his career after that De La Hoya fight based on risk reward factors. That's what he's done. And a lot of people don't want, a lot of Floyd hardcores don't want me to bring that fact up. They refuse to believe it, but it's a fact. This is true. This is what he said. So this is one of the things you got to hold against him because he didn't want to risk he didn't want to risk fighting the prime fighters, in hope of devaluing his profile or his stock, as you want to call it. So yeah, he was very calculative, very calculating after that De La Hoya fight. That's a fact. Or maybe a little bit before that. I mean, you can argue that he was calculating after moving up, after super featherweight. And obviously, he had a pretty good run there as the champion when he beat guys like Canaro Hernandez and I think Angel Manfredi, those guys. But other than that, he only had less than a few fights at lightweight, and then he quickly moved up, in between the weights and fought Toro Gotti, a human punching bag, to create, further strengthen his profile. But yeah, it is what it is. Even the De La Hoya fight was not much of a risk. I mean, Ricky Wright was a man at 154, and Floyd avoided him a year earlier. Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah, so many people don't know that about the Ricky Wright situation because, as many people don't know, and I had a bit of debate with Jalik about this. And shout out to Jalik. I know we had a debate about this a while back. Jalik and I were debating, and I told him about the Winky Wright situation because Floyd called out a lot of guys after the Arturo Gotti fight. And he called out Winky Wright right after the fact that Winky Wright was coming off and win against Felix Trinidad. And many people thought that Floyd was crazy for calling out a guy who just moved up from light middleweight to middleweight. And you fight at light welterweight. So Winky responded to that challenge and said, yeah, I'll fight you. And then next thing you know, he asked Winky to come down to 154. Winky agreed to it on principle. So they was going to draft up the agreement, get the fight done, 50-50 split. And then Floyd comes back and be a diva in that fight. I mean, going into that negotiations, he did later demanded a catch weight, and then after a week, not a catch weight, I'm sorry, he demanded a rehydration clause. Whereas that week he could not rehydrate no more than 8 pounds going into the fight. So Wiki was going to go into that fight at at 162, and then Wiki agreed to the rehydration clause, and then Floyd, days later, decided that he wanted to change the split in his favor. So pretty much he pretty much wanted Winky to back out of the fight to make it look like that Winky was ducking. No, Floyd was the one who was trying to get out of that because he knew he could beat Winky right any day of his any he knew that. And obviously, I would have favored Winky to do that because Winky had the style that was terribly wrong for Floyd. Terribly wrong. Much bigger, much more powerful. The man could take a punch. He was very fast on his very quick hands. A southpaw, by that matter. So yeah, that's why Winky was avoided by everybody because he had a very very awkward style for a southpaw, and he could take a punch, and he had very great defense. So I can't, Floyd knew he couldn't win that fight, so that's why he used all these tactics to get out of it. So let's just be real. So, uh, so let me see. Terrence says that Ray Leonard was a natural 147 pounder. I mean, 74-inch reach at 510 pounds, so that's a normal size there to compare to most 147 pounders these days. Yeah, that's true. Floyd outpriced himself in a sense because he was too demanding in negotiation. Yeah, yeah, that was to my point, IBT. It was just that he decided that he initially agreed. He initially wanted a 50-50 split. Wiki agreed to it. And then he came back and says, I wanted a rehydration clause. And Wiki agreed to that. And then he wants to come back and wanted a higher split. So he kept changing his mind about the split in that negotiations, knowing he didn't really want that fight. So he wanted to be called off to make it look like, hey, you see, I tried to make the fight. Wiki was being difficult. Yes, to be fair, Wiki Wright was always a difficult guy to deal with when it came to negotiations. But you got to give Wiki the benefit of the doubt here because he wasn't trying to be difficult. He gave it to Floyd's demands, and then he comes out with this bullshit, Floyd, about wanting a higher split than Winky. As I recall, Winky actually was had a pay-per-view fight with Felix Trinidad, and he beat two guys that were greater wins at that point, better than what Floyd had. He beat Felix Trinidad, and he beat Shane Mosley twice. So what in the world? Why would Floyd even demand a higher split in that particular situation when Winky was the guy who earned that right to have a higher split? You know, earning that right. You guys get that. So it is what it is. Intangible. Floyd would have lost that. Yeah, he would have lost that fight. No question about it. Floyd also didn't want to fight Martinez when he accepted coming down to 152. Yeah, I mean, let's all be real. Floyd didn't want to didn't want to take risks against fighters that he knew he was going to get, that he could lose to. He knew that. He knew that. So that's why he didn't want to talk about the possibility of fighting Golovkin. Now, going back to the Golovkin and Pacquiao thing, what if Pacquiao beats Golovkin? How does that make Floyd look? you know, I know people are gonna say, well, Golovkin wasn't that good anyway, but hey, Pacquiao took the risk of fighting a guy who was much bigger and much more powerful than him. Yes, he was at the end of his career, but I favor Pacquiao to win the fight, but many people don't favor him to win this fight if he fights Golovkin and beats him. So, uh, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, Floyd's Floyd. He's getting upset about the fact that people rate Leonard above him. He's got to deal with it. He's got to deal with it and stop bitching about it. Stop being a crybaby and stop being a hypocrite when you said once that I don't care. Let the fans decide. Uh, what let the fans decide. Well, I mean, if I'm the greatest of all time or not. And then all of a sudden you're pissed off with someone rated Leonard above you. So it is what it is. Uh, what's a greater accomplishment, lineal champ, or undisputed champ? Um, well, you know what? It depends. This type of question could kind of reflect over to the defer over to the let's see, Michael Spinks in the Mike Tyson situation. So let's look at it this way. Michael Spinks was coming up from light heavyweight and he beat the lineal champion Larry Holmes, not once but twice. He was the man at heavyweight as the recognized heavyweight champion. Mike Tyson, on the other hand, collected all three alphabet belts from champions such as Tony Tucker, such as Bone Crusher Smith, and such as Trevor Burbick. Same Trevor Burbick that Larry Holmes beat earlier in his career. So, yes, Tyson was looked upon as the actual heavyweight champion because he actually fought, more heavyweights than Michael Spinks did. And the fact that he fought these heavyweights in their prime. I'm not saying these heavyweights were greater than Larry Holmes, but the fact is that Mike Tyson was looked upon that because he was blowing out everybody in heavyweight, just about. He was the guy that's looked upon as a real heavyweight champion. So even though on paper Michael Spinks was the recognized champion, but many will argue that Tyson was the real champion, given all the fact that who he was fighting at the time. If Spinks was avoiding all those other heavyweights, he was ducking and jiving a lot of those guys. He in fact even refused to partake in the heavyweight tournament to decide who was the real heavyweight champion was at that time when Don Kima is assembled. So it got to the point that to settle this once and for all, they had their unification bout. Michael Spinks and Mike Tyson. Of course, Tyson beat him, knocked it out one round, and to everyone's surprise, and Tyson became the man at that night. So it is what it is. Uh, Let me see. Vino says, "Can Pacquiao fight Canelo?" Well, he could, but I probably favor Canelo to win that fight. But Canelo is at his prime and he's top of his game. He's a much better fighter than he was when he fought Floyd Mayweather. Now, if Pacquiao fought a Canelo who was green at the time when he fought Floyd, I definitely favor Pacquiao to beat him. But at this point, no, I don't think Pacquiao could beat Canelo at this point. Uh, Pacquiao's in danger of permanently damaging his skull and brain if he fights Triple G. You know what? They said the same thing critics years ago, back in 2009, 11 years ago. That people said the same thing when he fought Oscar De La Hoya. They thought De La Hoya was going to kill the guy. They thought they were going to permanently injure him and end his career. Many people believe that. So I just don't think Triple G could keep up with Pacquiao. Yeah, thanks, Vino. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the love right there, man. Hold on for a second, guys. I got to put my charger up on my laptop. Yeah, what's up, y'all? I'm back. Yeah, Tandem, I'm back, man. It's good to be back on here. It's been a long time, so I definitely got to do these a lot more often. so, yeah, IBT says that, yeah, 135, 147 was insane, but he isn't a young man anymore. So 147 to 160 is ludicrous. I mean, look, I mean, at the same time, Golovkin is not a young man either. I mean, let's be fair. Golovkin at the end of his career, he's definitely been banged up. He's definitely not the same fighter anymore either. So to me, they're kind of evenly matched, in my view. You know. Now, if this was a Golovkin back in 2013, I would agree. This is fucking insane for Manny to do that. You fight a prime, dangerous middleweight. And Golovkin is still dangerous, yes, but this was a guy who was fresh. He was hungry. He was in his prime in 2013, 2012. That was suicide to go up to take a fight against a guy like that who's fresh and hungry. But now Golovkin is not fresh and hungry anymore. Yes, he wants a huge payday. That's all he wants. I don't think he's looking to win a fight anymore. He just wants a fight and call it a career. Go home and spend the rest of his life happy with his family, rich and fat. you know? So yeah. Yeah. So to me, I look, if the fight gets made, I'm definitely favoring Pacquiao to win it. Regardless if it's a catch weight or not. Regardless. Now Golovkin again will have a better chance of winning it if it's no weight stipulations involved. But other than that, I still think his style is just tailor made for Manny Pacquiao. It is. It is too tailor made. His style is too tailor made for him, and Golovkin is going to get blitzed with those combinations left and right. And Pacquiao is going to give him too many angles that Golovkin can't even catch up because he's got slow feet. Now, can Pacquiao tire out in the fight? Maybe because his stamina is not the same like it was many years ago as he was younger. But yeah, Golovkin is definitely I think he's at the worst end of it than Pacquiao. Now, remind you, Pacquiao when the Thurman fight got made, we all thought that Pacquiao was going to lose that fight, even though Thurman was coming off an injury. But he was bigger, he was stronger, he was in his pretty much at his best, even though he's coming off an injury. But it is what it is. Yeah, the man started his career at strawweight. Now we're supposed to entertain this just because Freddie Roach. Then he'll challenge a 160 future Hall of Famer, Battle Hall of Famer, the win. I mean, look, as I recall many years ago, there was guys who started at strawweight and ended up fighting guys at heavyweight, like the Demon Barbados Joe Wilcott, for example. Now, I'm not saying he started at strawweight, but he did start off at like lightweight, I think, and he fought guys at heavyweight. So, I mean, Manny Pacquiao is kind of one of those throwback fighters who'll fight in between eight different weight classes. I mean, if he can win a title in ninth weight classes, I mean, Amanda Serrano did it in the women's division. She did it in seven weight classes. She started her career at freaking bantamweight. So, I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, it can be done, man, but there are some exceptions. If Pacquiao can do this, if he can, I mean, who's to say, man? Many people. Look, going into the fight, I don't think Pacquiao is going to be the favorite. I think Golovkin is going to be the favorite. And if Pacquiao can pull it off, that's it. I think he should call it a career after that. I mean, I don't think no one, at least for a long time, for that matter, will ever break his record being a nine division world champion. I don't think no one will be able to break that record. No one. Yeah, let's see here. That I believe Rocha was already deconfirming the fight from happening. It was only mentioned as a joke, anyways. I mean, it's possible he probably meant it as a joke, but as I recall, Manny Pacquiao was interested in the fight, and then Golovkin was interested. So they're kind of trading back and forth with their words here and there, but we'll see. George Carpentier started at strawweight and moved up to heavyweight. Ted Cat Lewis went from flyweight to light heavyweight. Yeah, that's true. They all did. Yeah, that's true. Carpentier, who blatantly ducked Harry Greb. Yeah, I know about that. Of course, who didn't duck Harry Greb? I mean, freaking Jack Dempsey didn't want nothing to do with Harry Greb. So it is what it is. Serrano won her titles from vacancies, not a Hall of Fame or prime fighters like Pacquiao did. Well, that is true. That is true. But at the same time, Serrano was taking a risk of fighting women who were much bigger and powerful than she was and punched harder than she did. So we can't take that away from Serrano. That is true. She did fight the champions to get those titles for the most part, but she did take a risk of fighting bigger women and stronger women. So I'm just pointing that out. But yeah, Pacquiao definitely fought the champions to actually get these titles. He did. I agree with that. I want to like Pacquiao, but I can't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you favor Golovkin to beat Pacquiao, I don't fault you for that. Wasn't heavyweight like 180 pounds back then? It was, but strawweight was like around 110, 112. So still a huge weight difference if you think about it. So is Crawford versus Brooke a better fight litmus test for Bud in the welterweight? I still think Spence beats Bud. Um, for litmus test is concerned, a Brook fight would be, or even an Ugas fight. Of course, we all knew Ugas turned down the fight because he wanted a increase in his purse to take it, but he wasn't going to get it because Terrence Crawford didn't want to take a pay cut. So it is what it is. So yeah, I agree. But as far as Spence beating Crawford, I don't know. I don't know. I still favor Bud because I think Bud just has too many weapons. And he's too awkward, too difficult for Earl Spence to catch up. I'm just keeping it honest. So yeah. Uh, Triple G Raider from LA Boxing. What's up, Raider? He said, "Look, Triple G will not pull that off. There are divisions for a reason. Triple G will probably severely damage Pacquiao if he lands flush. Now, Marquez never a hard puncher, but 160 down, that's not a good idea. That's true, but again, De La Hoya was a big puncher. He was a big puncher, bigger puncher than Pacquiao. I'm not saying he was a concussive puncher, but Oscar De La Hoya punched very hard. And a lot of people thought De La Hoya was going to kill the guy. Yes, De La Hoya was coming down from a weight class, coming down to a weight class he didn't fight in years, but he was still the heavy favorite to win that fight. So I'm not saying Golovkin can't land on Pacquiao and damage him, but hey, it is what it is, man. So I mean, isn't Thurman a harder puncher than Marquez? And Thurman couldn't even hurt the guy. Yeah, Thurman landed some good shots, but he couldn't really hurt Pacquiao. Yes, he buzzed him and stunned him a bit, but he couldn't really hurt him. Yeah, the Demon was about 5'2". I thought he was 5'3". Uh, but you're probably right, Intangible. You're probably right. Ted Cat Lewis challenged Maxi Rosenblum and George Carpentier. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ted Cat Lewis did fight those guys. He did. Perhaps a catchweight would be the only way this fight can happen. Yeah, I mean, we all 100% agree that the only way this fight will ever come about is that this will be catchweight. And as I recall, Golovkin said he would come down and wait to fight the guy at 154, but I don't see 154 a possibility. It's going to definitely be for the middleweight title. It'll probably be at 155 or 156. He said he will do it for Pacquiao and Mayweather, but he won't do it for Canelo and the other fighters. He only do it for them. That's it. So yeah, catch weight, I think 155 or 156. And then there may be a rehydration clause that would be put into place for the fight. I'm just being honest. I think that's what's going to happen. Walcott fought good heavyweights and tough light heavyweights, including champions like Joe Johnski. Yeah, yeah, he did. Walcott fought those guys, and Johnski trained Jack Johnson. He trained him when how to learn how to jab and utilize his reach and his height. So, yeah, he made Jack Johnson the fighter he was in the later years, Joe Chonsky. So, yeah, let me see. Yeah, you meant Pacquiao won't be able to pull it off. Not to go off topic, but when it comes to history, I tend to ramble. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, Tangible. We all do. I do the same thing too. And people don't like it when I bring up history to nullify my points. 70-pound difference is actually 5'11". Guys make more sense than 60-pound difference as a 5'5" guy. Well, I mean, is Pacquiao 5'6" or 5'5"? And Golovkin is 5'10", 5'11"? Because Golovkin is not a really tall dude. He's about what, about 5'10", but he is taller than Pacquiao. I mean, De La Hoya was 6 foot, I think 5'10" and about the same height as um Golovkin. De La Hoya, I meant. Yeah, he's the same height as Golovkin. So Pacquiao fought him. He fought Margarito, who was just as tall as and much bigger than De La Hoya. So I mean, I'm just saying. Yes, Carpentier went up to 175, but he got knocked the hell out a couple of times. I mean, all of them did, man. Come on. I mean, even freaking the Hawk, Leo Huck. He started at strawweight and fought at heavyweight. He used to get knocked out, but he had Hall of Fame wins going up and fighting those heavyweights. He did. The Hawk. He was a original white murderers row guy who everybody avoided. Nobody wanted to fight the guy. So just wanted to just throw that in there. Sorry, guys. Just got a little distracted here. Just give me a moment. All right, let's see here. I mean, it's good we're having a good topic, good conversation about this. Willie Meehan. Yeah, I like Willie Meehan. I don't know. Willie Meehan was okay. Was a good fighter. I mean, but I don't know. I have my gripes about Willie Meehan. All right, let's see here. Sorry about that. All right, let's see. Henry Armstrong was 5'7" with a 6'7" reach. He started at flyweight and basically won the middleweight title from Garcia. Yeah, he did. Funny you bring up Ted Cat Lewis, but didn't he get sparked in a round versus Carpentier? Yeah, he did. He did. But still a great win for Carpentier, though, right? Am I saying that they can move up and succeed, but they could actually get their brains bashed in? I mean, look, man, it's all about being great. It is. It is. It is about being great. But I know I saw Raider made a comment here. He says, "Yeah, but you're talking about Pacquiao that fought De La Hoya at 29. This is not the pack. This is not. That's not the same Pacquiao that's fighting in his 40s. Yeah, I agree. But again, Golovkin is not the same fighter that he was when he was in 20 when he was like 31, 32 years old back in 2012. He's not. Golovkin is at the end of his career too. So, but out of the fighters, in your view, who's the fresher fighter out of the two, Golovkin or Pacquiao? Yeah, IBT says, yeah, Pacquiao 41 at this point wouldn't be a smart move. No, it wouldn't. But we all, man, I keep bringing this up, the De La Hoya thing. Maybe many people said that Pacquiao was fighting De La Hoya wasn't a smart move. So many people thought that him fight Margarito wasn't a smart move. So, like I said, Pacquiao is not has been in this territory before. So we'll see. Golovkin hasn't diminished enough at all for an old Pacquiao to beat him. Well, I'm not sure about that. If you look at that Demachenko fight, he looked extremely old. He was the most hurt I've ever seen him get hurt before. He almost got knocked out. And he looked horrible in that fight. He looked horrible in that and the fight before that was against Steve Rose. Yes, that fight only lasted 4 rounds, but Golovkin was getting hit a lot as usual, not moving his head, didn't look sharp. So I don't know about that. Can't see big crowds at major sporting events for at least 12 months minimum. Yeah, it's going to take a year, Mala. I agree. Unless you're in New Zealand, where you're from, we can still get sporting events over there. I'm not sure they have restrictions on large crowds in New Zealand at this point. Help me out on that. But I know you guys don't have, you guys got that under control with the COVID thing because you guys have life as normal as it is over there. So I admire your prime minister. She's doing a hell of a job over there, even though she may not be liked by some of you guys, but she's doing a good job. But De La Hoya, was prime Pacquiao. I mean, this is a senior Pacquiao. Yeah, I get that, but Golovkin is not in his prime either. This is my point. They're both not in their prime. That's my point. That or they find a foreign country to find a place to hold events in. Investors want a lot, though. Yeah, exactly, Terrence. Exactly my point. New Zealand would be a good place to host a fight, and certainly South Korea, or even I don't know, maybe China. But South Korea and New Zealand would definitely be places you could also fight at because they don't have the COVID outbreaks over there. Yeah, I don't quite agree. Knocked out. I can't see the ref saved his ass from getting dropped, but out cold. That's why he didn't he hurt. He didn't hurt him again after that. The action resumed. Well, I mean, I think Golovkin was going to get knocked out because he stumbled and he was hurt badly, and then the referees, held him up and gave him some little bit of time to recover. So, I mean, yeah, I thought he was going to get knocked out in that round if it wasn't the referee saving him and giving him some time. Yeah, we can have big crowds. The prime minister has done a great job. Yeah, exactly. So my point, Mala, I think New Zealand would be the place that Pirate's going to have to go to fight. Joseph Parker could definitely has an excuse to fight down there if he wants to get fights done on his terms. You know, so yeah, I hope Joseph doing it okay these days. Uh, Raider says that Pacquiao might be fresher, but Golovkin can still crack. I'm not saying Golovkin is or is going to outbox Pacquiao, but I have to bet on Golovkin will win because of his power, not because he's fresher. I mean, yeah, you make a fair point there, but going back to my point is just that I think Golovkin's style is tailor made for Pacquiao. Pacquiao's greatest wins based off the fact the guys will stand in front of him and try to trade with him, and that's something you don't want to do because Thurman tried the same shit, and look what happened to him. He was getting beat to the punch when he tried to trade with Pacquiao. Not the smart thing to do. You don't want to trade with that guy. You just don't want to do it. You could smother him to the best of your ability, yeah, but you have to fight Pacquiao and give him angles. That's one of the only ways you're going to beat him. That's the only way. You can't stand in front of him and trade with him like that. That's just nonsense. You just can't do it. And Golovkin, with the slower hands and the slower feet, just can't trade with Pacquiao. He just can't do it. Well, that's a fast ass recovery then, because I can't see it down, but I don't see it being stopped from KO. I mean, we have our opinion about it, IBT. We have an opinion, but I just think that Golovkin, if it wasn't for that save, he would have been seriously hurt or got knocked out in that round, in my view. Yeah, let me see if there's anything else here. All right, so let's talk about the heavyweights real quickly. I mean, we haven't really talked about that tonight. Not too much going on. I know the last significant heavyweight fight that we had was a Wilder and Fury rematch. Of course, we all know that Wilder got beat badly. Fury pretty much was a one-sided fight. Wilder's invoked his rematch clause for the third fight, um, and so forth. And Wilder's doing these twerking videos. Let me say this. Let me say something about that. Wilder's always been doing that. He was doing that before the Stavern fight, the first fight. So I don't know why anybody's surprised about it, but then people are probably using that and saying, well, Fury turned him out after that fight. I'm like, I don't think so. But Wilder's always been that way. He's always been twerking. I don't want to comment on it, but it's just, to me, it's just, it's nonsense that people kind of bring it up to tear the guy down. But I don't know why. He's always done that. But it is what it is. Uh, Joshua was supposed to be fighting Pulev, but of course we all know with the COVID thing that fight's been pushed back. I think till October because Joshua actually has an ankle injury, so that fight's gonna be pushed back for another few months, whatnot. So it is what it is. Uh, Pacquiao said Thurman hit as hard as Barbarino. So how hard would Triple G hit? I mean, every punch would be like an atomic bomb. Yeah, you know what though? Let me tell you this. Triple G definitely has power, but he's not a one. He's not a one punch knockout artist. He's not. He's not. He's not. Because if you look at all his knockouts, even when he's fighting low level opposition, he didn't knock guys out concussively. It was accumulation shots that he put those guys out. That's what he was able to do. But when he was fighting guys who were more durable, like Jacobs, who we all thought had a chin, was pretty chinny, throughout his career, he couldn't even hurt Jacobs. He couldn't even hurt him. He wasn't even close to knocking him out. Jacobs took his best shots. Canelo, what's up, Smoke? Yeah, and Canelo took Triple G's best shots and walked right through him. It's like Golovkin out in their second fight. He walked through Golovkin's shots, best shots. So yeah, Golovkin punches hard, but he's not a concussive puncher. He's not a dominant. He's not an explosive puncher like Wilder is, for example. He's not an explosive puncher like Tommy Hearns was. Or Gerald McClellan. He's not that type of puncher. Not saying, and again, I'm not saying Golovkin cannot hurt Pacquiao, but he does. He's not a explosive puncher. That's just a fact. He's not. So Vino says that look, is Golovkin bigger than Margarito? I mean, Triple G might be the hardest puncher Pacquiao's going to face if that fight ever comes into fruition. Yeah, yeah, we all agree that Golovkin will be the hardest puncher out of the fighters Pacquiao's face. But what I'm saying is Golovkin is not a devastating puncher. He has good power, but he's not an explosive puncher like a McClellan. He's not an explosive puncher like a Mike Tyson. He's not an explosive puncher like a again Tommy Hearns. He's just not. Let's be realistic. I'm just keeping it real. Trader says, "Look, if you're Triple G, my plan will definitely be trade with Pacquiao with the extremely would to trade with the extremely small Pacquiao. I mean, I know he not going to knock me down, but if I can land flush shot on 100 punches plus power shots, then maybe he might go down. Yeah, but again, many fighters try to trade with Pacquiao, and that just doesn't work. You cannot trade with the man face to face. You got to give him angles. That's the only way you're going to beat him. You can't do it. Again, Thurman tried that shit, and he was getting beat to the punch. He was getting hurt. badly by Pacquiao shots in that fight. Badly getting hurt. Sorry, guys. Hold up for a second, guys. Give me a minute. Yeah, let me see. Sorry, guys, had to step out for a moment. Hey, what's up, Mike? For pound boxing report, man. I'm good, brother. It's been a long time, man. A long time since I've been doing this, so I'm definitely wanted to hop on here and catch up on a lot of things and discuss a lot of things. I know COVID's kind of got everybody on lockdown, but it shouldn't stop me from doing these live streams, because there's still stuff to talk about in boxing, even though there ain't many fights happening right now. So yeah, I mean, there are a few cards here and there, but they're not on the larger scale. I mean, the only significant fight that we had ever since things started to slowly reopen was the Shakur Stevenson fight. I know Miguel Burchell just fought recently, but these guys are fighting, you know, lower tier opposition for the most part. So it is what it is. IBT says that Canelo doesn't get enough credit for those two fights. I mean, I don't mean to say he'll touch Pacquiao and he'll collapse, but what I'm saying is a good couple of body shots would shoot a hole in Pacquiao's gas tank. It will drain him because Golovkin is a definitely damn good body puncher. You got to give him credit for that. He's a damn good body puncher. So, but what I'm saying is, again, you can't fight Pacquiao straight up. You got to give the man ankles. And I know Golovkin is not that type of fighter, so the only way he can make up for that is to slow him down and neutralize him and make to the body. So if you hit him to the body, you'll neutralize him, make him stationary, so that way he doesn't move around and give Golovkin angles. So again, but at the same time, are you willing to trade with a guy who has faster hands than you, who's a very good counterpuncher like Pacquiao is? I mean, because that's exactly what Golovkin tried to do with Canelo. Canelo was could counter him left to right with fast combinations, especially with that left hook. And Golovkin was retreating in that second fight. He just couldn't figure out. He had no other game plan. So good fight, definitely indeed. But I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Now it's like, I do see possibilities of Golovkin winning, but it's going to be a risk, especially trying to trade with a guy who has faster hands, who has faster feet than you, who's made a career of beating bigger men because of the fact that these bigger men try to overpower him and stood and try to trade with him face, toe to toe. Let's see here. Dino says, "Do you believe Iron Mike will fight either Fury or Wilder?" That's wild. Well, I do know that Tyson Fury was offered the fight and he turned it down. I don't know the explanation why Tyson Fury turned down the fight, but I mean, let's be realistic. I'm not gonna get on Tyson Fury for turning down the Mike Tyson fight. We all know Mike Tyson doesn't have no more than 2 rounds left in his tank because the man is like absorbed. The man has lived a wild life after retirement. He hasn't really took care of his body. Yes, he's gotten back in shape, but he doesn't have the same endurance like he did when he was fighting in his prime years. So he was 54 years old now. We're about to be 54. Nah, man. I mean, Mike, he'll probably again. He only lasts no longer than 2 rounds. Tyson Fury will wobble and swarm this guy and beat the crap out of him. I'm just being honest, and they're both good friends. So out of respect and integrity, Tyson Fury, rightfully should turn it down. I mean, what's he going to get out of fighting Mike Tyson other than a huge payday? Uh, Yeah, so I don't know, man. As far as Wilder's concerned, I mean, yes, Wilder took a bad loss against Fury, but Wilder would kill Mike at this point. I mean, seriously, that's just suicide for Mike to even consider taking off fights against these prime heavyweights. No, and even Joshua would kill this guy, would kill him. Not literally, but he would get beat by these three heavyweights. I'm just keeping it real. Now, if you were talking about Iron Mike fighting a guy like Bermane Stiverne, yeah. I think that would make sense in a way because Tavern is not the same fighter that he was when he fought Wilder the first time around. So it is what it, I think that would be logical. But other than that, fighting Wilder or fighting a Fury or fighting a Joshua, nah, it just doesn't make sense. So I don't fault Tyson Fury for turning down that fight against Iron Mike Tyson. I don't fault him for that. Uh, Raider says that Triple G knows he's not gonna. He knows he's not gonna get hurt against Pacquiao. No way and no how. Nobody ever knocked down Triple G, including Canelo. I mean, Triple G has a chin. I mean, Pacquiao might have power at 147, but 160 against one of the best chins, I don't know. Look, I'm not saying that Pacquiao is going to knock him out. And when what Margarito fight happened, I didn't think Pacquiao was going to knock out Margarito, but he beat the crap out of Margarito and essentially ended his career. What I'm saying is that Pacquiao could possibly do the same to Triple G, beat him all the way up to the 12th round, and to the point that Golovkin may not have much of a career after that fight is over, because that's exactly what happened to Margarito when Pacquiao fought him at 154 catchweight. By the way, it was catchweight 150 for way above the welterweight limit. And he battered the crap out of Margarito, maimed him. So I'm not saying he could do the same to Golovkin, but those are the possibilities. Canelo is way more large. He's way larger and more defensively responsible. Yeah, that's true. By the way, man, do you go to Yahoo Answers boxing section? Nah, I don't. I don't visit that, but maybe I should. A Raider says, and Canelo can crack at 160, 168, 175. Triple G respected Canelo's power. Likewise, Canelo was just not trading with Triple G. No, he wasn't trading. Me, I did say he was trading, but what I should have said is that Golovkin was trying to fight him toe to toe. But what happened was Canelo was willing to do that because he knew he could take his shots. And he was hitting him with some counters that Triple G had no answer for, and that's why Triple G kept retreating because he didn't want to trade with Canelo with those counters. He didn't want to give him a chance of hitting those counter shots, which he wasn't able to avoid. So the only thing Triple G could do is try to nullify Canelo with his jab, which he has a very good jab, by the way. But Canelo was hitting him to the body. He was giving him all type of multiplicity of shots, man. And Golovkin had no answer for it. He was getting worried in it. That's why he tried to fight him off the back. But Triple G is not a good back foot fighter. He's not. I don't think it would happen because if it did, it would be a sad stoppage loss for Pacquiao and completely unnecessary in my view. I mean, look, I understand where you're coming from, IBT, but you got two guys who are, Pacquiao, is 41 years old. He's looked much better than Golovkin has in his last few fights. Golovkin is at the end of his career. He's looking for a huge payday. Canelo kind of backed out of their third fight, and obviously he doesn't want to do it. Maybe till next year. And now Golovkin is scrambling, looking for a big payday because he wants a large fight before he calls it a career. And Pacquiao is willing to step in and give him that fight from the looks of it. So, um, and like I said, this is De La Hoya all over again, in my view. And I would, if this is a catch weight, which I think there will be weight restrictions involved, Pacquiao is going to win that fight, in my view. So we'll see. We'll see. When things develop. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, like I said, not. Yeah, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on what's happening around the world, guys. I know we spent most of this chat talking about Pacquiao versus Golovkin. I mean, yeah, like I said though, it's a good conversation, and if the fight happens, it happens. You know what I mean? Will it be good for boxing? I don't know. I think it would at this point because we definitely need something significant to get this thing going in the middle of a pandemic. So, uh, yeah. And speaking of that, Canelo is talking about fighting Mariota in Japan. So we all know Golovkin was targeting that fight, but Mariota lost to Rob Brandt, and that killed off any chance for that fight being made. So now Canelo is going to pretty much take that fight now that Mariota gave back his regular title from Rob Brandt. So uh, it is what it is. So we'll see how that comes about. Yeah, bigs up, bro. Yeah, big up to you, Raider. I appreciate that, man. Real talk, real talk. So, yeah, I wanted to do this solo. I know it's kind of late because some of the guys wanted to come in the chat, but I'm gonna have to do this earlier so that way we can have on the wider discussion. But since it was a little bit late, I just do this solo and see what happens here. I mean, just to kind of touch base on everybody. So, whatnot. So, yeah, man. Yeah, we'll see how this plays out, man. I wish everybody safety out there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Uh, yeah, Mike says that the only super exciting thing happening boxing wise is the flyweight unification happening in August. Yeah, it's in Ioka versus who's Ioka fighting? Yeah, he's fight. Hell, who's he fighting? I know that fight's coming up. Who's he fighting? Let me look it up. Ioka. Let me see. Yeah, he's fighting. Hmm. Is he fighting Tanaka? I don't know if he's fighting Tanaka. Help me out there, because I know he's fighting somebody. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I have to check on that. But yeah, there is a unification for the flyweight. I forgot about that. See, this is the thing about that. No one really talks about the flyweight division that much. So ever since Roman Gonzalez hasn't really fought there. He doesn't fight there anymore. So um, no, it's Julio Cesar Martinez versus Delacan for the unification flyweight title. And Ioka versus Tanaka is at 115. That was supposed to happen. That's supposed to happen later this year. Yeah, yes. Okay, so Ioka is fighting Tanaka. Tanaka. So we'll see. And then you got Martinez versus Dalacan. Oh, yikes! Yeah, that's actually a damn good fight. So I'll definitely favor Martinez to win it, but you can't count Delacan out. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, other than that, man, let's just hope we can get some other fights in. I know Wilder Fury 3 is supposed to happen. I think in October, the latest. But I think they're still trying to figure out the venue and location. And if you ask me, they're not gonna fight in the States or in the UK. That's not gonna happen. Then that's not gonna happen. So they're gonna have to fight elsewhere, like in like maybe New Zealand, as I mentioned earlier, or in South Korea somewhere, or maybe China. That's the only territories I can think of. That's the only way they're going to get a gate revenue, in my view. So, yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. It was good talking to you guys again, man. Shout out to Mike for Pound Boxing Report. Shout out to Raider. Shout out to Ben Umar. I know he popped up here once. Vino G. Smoke, Mala, IBT, Terrence for the Texan, Intangible. I think that's McGregor and Bakari. So shout out to you guys, man. I really appreciate y'all for coming in on the late. It's late, so I'm gonna wrap this up, and I will definitely be back at this again sometime this week, maybe tomorrow, at least. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace. Oh, I was going to edit real quickly, but hey, what's up, D Style? D Style. He's like, damn, you missed it. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I was about to wrap this up, but D Style, real quickly though, man. Yeah, I was gonna wrap it up, but hey, did you want to chime in real quickly? We could chop it up for a second. I'll send you a link. Let me know, man. All right. I'll give you a minute. Okay. All right, D style. All right, guys. I'm going ahead and end this. All right. But yeah, you catch up with me next time, man. We'll chop it up. All right. All right. All right, y'all. I'm gonna end this broadcast. I'm out. Peace.